No, se arrancan antes seguramente para joder a los tipos.
To save our way. Over the ages, we have known pain like no other, but we endured, and we became mighty. Rise.
El acto 4, perfecto. Los 3 actitos de relleno, eso, para suplantar la rejugabilidad de los otros 2. 24 voces nuevos. Reestructuración de gemas de soporte. Cambios en gemas de habilidad. Gemas de soporte especiales. Nuevos ítems. Notable. ¿Cómo? Ahora, ¿había Action House ahí? ¿Para qué? Rise of the Abyss. Ojo.
Now, as you can see, there's a lot going on, and we have a lot to reveal today. We'll start by going over Act 4, the next chapter in the pathofexile 2 storyline. But that's not all. There's also 3 new interlude acts to get you to Endgame, which means we're removing Cruel Difficulty too. After that, we'll be going through the massive changes to characters. I'm super excited to show you how I've overhauled the entire support gem system, added new skills, and yes, there are buffs. Next, we'll go over the Rise of the Abyssal, this season's exclusive league mechanic, and talk about the new rewards, crafting systems, areas, and bosses that it adds.
Crafting system.
After that, it's on to changes we're making to the endgame. Then
Cambios
it's time to
al
talk
endgame.
about items, crafting,
Y el crafting.
trade.
Me
That's
encanta.
going to be a big one.
Bien, me están comprando.
We'll then go over our new supporter packs and finish up
Asynchronous
with a live
trade.
Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Pathofexile 2's game directors,
Se pueden comprar ítems cuando los vendedores están offline.
from Twitch chat. And after that, at 4 p.m. Pacific, patch notes. They're not quite complete, but they should give you some nice details to chew on. We've got a lot to cover today, but first, another announcement. When the Third Edict launches on the 29th, we'll be having a free weekend for Pathofexile 2.
Fin de
That's
semana
right,
gratis.
Pathofexile 2 will be free for the first time without requiring an early access key. The free weekend will end on September the 1st, so you'll have plenty of time to give the game a try. When you
Ahí vas a
open the
poder
map, you
viajar.
can choose to sail anywhere you like. Act 4 is completely non-linear, and you can visit the islands in any order you choose.
Ah, el acto 4 no es lineal.
Will you visit the pristine beaches of Whakapanu Island? The Karui whisper of a curse that afflicts all who travel there. Perhaps it's related
Pero
to the
¿cómo
weapon you
balancean el
seek.
nivel?
And battle incredible bosses.
Navali.
Challenger! Come, Yama sees your soul!
Llama de White, boludo, mirá.
There are 8 islands
El
to
monito
discover,
de Navali.
each teeming with its own flora and fauna. Act 4 contains over 100 new monster types, 16 new areas, 12 new bosses, add 3 new mini-acts, of course, and we're
Agregaron
calling them
mini-actos.
the interludes. The interludes are a set of 3 temporary side stories that will be included in the game until Act 5 is released, that will take you to level
Claro, son
65
historias
where the endgame
secundarias
can begin.
temporales. Eso hasta que
The first
agreguen los
interlude
otros
takes
actos
you
que
on a
faltan.
journey back to Ogham.
A ver si le sacaron lo del Stagger.
In 030, when you hold down the dodge roll button, your character will go into a sprint after they finish the roll.
Bien.
This is available on all character classes.
Decime que
There's
si
no
te pegan no
limitation
quedas
on how long you
estuneado.
can sprint for.
Por favor.
The primary
Deci-
purpose of this feature is to make navigating areas faster when out of combat. Because of that, if you do take a hit while sprinting, you'll fall to the ground. The best idea is to use a skill when you see monsters. That'll break you out of the sprint so you can engage with no danger.
Ah, se tropezó y se desnucó con al darte la cabeza contra la pared, boludo.
You won't be vulnerable during the roll, and you're faster while sprinting than basically, without having to compromise on PoE 2's more
¿En
visceral
cuánto los
combat
fixean a
systems.
eso? Yo digo, no pasa de la
Okay.
primera semana.
So that's the new extensions to the campaign. Now, support gems are one of the most interesting elements to creating a build. They're what enables so many interesting mechanics and different ways to play. But PoE 2's support gem system has just never been quite right. One of the major issues is the limitation of only having one support gem of each type on your character.
Ah, se van a
We
poder
didn't want
repetir la
builds to just
support,
become using
perfecto.
the same 5 most powerful supports in every skill.
Ah, vas a tener
There were only
diferentes.
3 tiers of supports, and many of the
Van
most
a haber
important
cinco
ones were
ahora.
given out at Tier 1. Also, there were no strict upgrades, meaning that upgrading supports when you ran out of sockets required quite a lot of thinking. In order to solve these issues, we now also have multiple levels of many supports as you go through the game. For example, double barrel support gives you an extra bolt, but at the cost of 30% less reload speed. At tier 2, the penalty gets lowered to 20%. But then at tier 3, the support gem gets something new. It now reloads automatically when you heavy stun an enemy.
Esa pregunta es muy personal.
In some cases, the highest tiers might work a little differently, and you'll have to decide if you like the upgrade or not, depending on your build. For example, rapid casting. The first couple of levels gives 15 and 20% increased cast speed. But then at tier 3, it changes to a new approach. For each different spell you cast in the last 8 seconds, you get 10% increased cast speed, which could be a pretty big bonus if you use a lot of different
son variaciones de la misma.
So that's pretty good for upgrades through the campaign. But we wanted to add a little more spice to the endgame for supports too. And that's where our new system, lineage supports, comes in. You can think of these like unique items, but for supports. There are supports that are only available at endgame, but they're much more powerful. Like Ratha's Assault. It's an upgraded version of Double Barrel that reloads your skill as you dodge roll, as well as increasing the number of bolts it can hold. But it does mean that it's the only way you can reload the skill now. Now, unlike regular supports, you can't find these through the uncut support gem. Just like unique items, many of these can be found from specific bosses.
Algunas solo te pueden caer algunos bosses.
And there's a ton in the regular drop pool too. Some of them are fairly rare.
Algunas son muy raras. Ah, mira.
Others fairly common.
Level equality.
Some of them are build defining. Others are just straight up power upgrades.
Mira, bueno.
All in all, there's around 40 lineage supports being added throughout the endgame, so there's a lot of power to find out there.
Hay cosas muy OP, eh?
The new support gems are certainly going to open up a lot of builds, but of course we have a huge range of improvements to individual character classes as well. Unlike Evasion, Deflect works on everything, and if you successfully deflect a hit, you take 40% less damage.
El Deflect,
Items
muy
can now
parecido al
give you a
Super,
mod
pero
that
que se
gives you
aplica
some
tanto a
amount of
ataques como a
deflection based
spells.
on your evasion. And there's a bunch of it available on the passive tree too. Deflection is rolled in addition to evasion, so this is an upgrade for regular hits too. Fire skills on the warrior were
Te
not
siguen
really
moviendo los enemigos.
so we decided we needed to upgrade a bunch of them, but also add some more as well. Let's start with a buff. Volcanic Fissure now branches into multiple fissures, giving it much more clearing potential. We've also added a new skill called Forge Hammer. This skill throws a molten hammer that does a slam at a distance. You can recall the hammer back by using the skill again if you like, but the cooler thing to do is to use a Warcry near it. Using a Warcry makes the hammer explode, making a bunch of volcanic fissures around. Volcanic fissures re-trigger when you slam them, so it's a great skill to make a flaming arena to fight a boss. We also buffed Perfect Strike to have a much larger area of effect, and changed Molten Blast to not always force you to move forward. Trust me, it feels a lot better to use now. The skill now has massively boosted chance to ignite monsters as well. And you're going to want to ignite monsters due to a new glory skill called Ancestral Cry. Ancestral Cry charges up with glory by igniting monsters, invoking King Kaum's favor. After you do, use it to channel Kaum's ancestral power. Every attack will be ancestrally boosted with fire. Your very steps will explode, triggering volcanic fissures, and molten balls will erupt from your attacks. Warrior shield skills were another area we wanted to improve. Now that we've got Sprint, we actually don't need to have a cooldown on shield charge anymore. It now also does more damage the further away you are when you use it.
Ya no hay más cooldown en el...
Shield Wall got
shield charge.
upgraded AoE. Also, you can shield charge right through it to trigger all
It's
the
a melee
walls.
league.
We also added a new shield Warcry. Fortifying Cry gives you a defensive buff, but it also builds up charge on your shield that empowers your other shield skills. Now, one of the major weaknesses of armor is the inability to defend against elemental damage. In order to mitigate this, we're adding a lot more of the stat that allows your armor to defend against elemental damage. It's now available on items and in a lot more places on the passive tree.
No está mal, pero ¿y el efecto base se aplica también?
One of the most important improvements we've made
O sea,
in
¿lo
030
mejoraron?
is to declunk the action and flow of shooting crossbows. You can now reload crossbows
Porque
without any movement penalty.
algo que era que no servía porque no te defendía mucho.
Be used while moving now slow you for a
Que
shorter
ahora
amount of time.
no te defienda mucho de
This
otra
change
cosa,
benefits
no la hace
everyone,
mucho
not just
mejor.
crossbow skills. With both on the Blood Mage, you were previously required to spend your first points on Sangomancy, which really was supposed to be the downside for being able to access the powerful abilities on the rest of the class. In order to make picking the Blood Mage a better early option, we've made Sangomancy free, unlocking the power of the rest of the class immediately.
Ah, la hacen free.
On the Infernalist, the demon form wasn't something people were really using because you lost your weapon stats while transformed. Well, you no longer do, so it's a much better option now.
Ya no perdés los stats del arma.
On the monk,
Ahora,
the wind
el mismo
skills needed a
forma.
big upgrade for sure. Well, that changes now. The monk, as a true martial artist, now has the ability to learn the hollow palm technique, a keystone that lets you use all quarterstaff skills while unarmed. All
Puedes
quarterstaff
usar
attacks now have a special unarmed version,
las
and you get further
quarterstaff
bonuses to all your
skills
attacks from stacking energy shield and evasion on your character.
estando un arma.
A new keystone we also added to the monk section of the tree is Walker of the Wilds. This changes mana leech to work with elemental damage instead of physical, which is pretty useful for all those elemental attacks the monk has, but it works well for the ranger too. So for example, there's no longer 3 curses for fire, ice and lightning. Instead, there's just a single curse that buffs all 3 at the same time.
Agregaron el weakness.
And things
bien.
like Frost Bomb, which gave you cold exposure, now give elemental exposure. You can use it to buff
mira.
any of your other skills.
Y es que ahora Frostbomb lo
We
vas a
also
usar con
wanted to make
todo.
switching between different weapon sets smoother,
Literal.
so you can use different elemental staves more effectively. To do that, we've removed the weapon switch time.
Hasta
It
con
now
arquero,
happens
con todo.
instantly. Or use it with all 3 to generate a storm that is truly apocalyptic. Cold Snap has been simply turned into
¡Tenés la guía!
Previously, you could use it to shatter
¡Tenés la
ice,
guía!
but now it works to detonate all of the different elemental ailments. And
¿Sabés
makes
lo
a
que
lead
van a hacer
behind
nuestras
infusion.
PC? Este está con PC de la NASA y se le lagueaba.
And just like how you could previously use it on Frostbolt, you can now also use it on Orb of Storms and Solar Orb to detonate those as well,
Oh, no.
which means you can create many infusions at once. For example, the Molten One's Gift. It lets the benefit of Armor Break apply to your fire damage. Or how about Last
mira.
Stand, which gives you lots of stats as your situation becomes more and more desperate.
Che, hay cosas.
A lot of these have themes aligning with ascendancy classes. Like for the Gemling Legionnaire, for example. You have crystallized immunities, which makes you immune to different status ailments, depending on which
mira.
support gem color you have socketed the most.
Dependiendo de la
Another
gema de
ascendancy
soporte
class
que
align
tengan los
notable is
colores.
Sanguimatic Rituals. It allows arcane surges to generate life instead of mana, unlocking that support gem to be used with the Blood Mage Ascendancy.
Ah.
In the Sork area, you'll find these Archon nodes that allow you to convert all of your elemental damage to a specific element. You become a Lightning Archon when you spend enough mana, after which all your skills will be converted to lightning, and you will do extra lightning damage as well. We have ones for cold and fire too, with different triggers. Here's another cool one. Elemental Practitioner gives crit bonuses if you've triggered a skill recently, while also making crits generate more energy for triggers. Or maybe you'd like the Great Boar. It gives you a reason to stack dexterity to make you tougher, giving a bonus to life and stun threshold.
Mira. Esto un
Or the
threshold for
Cunning
Dex. Eso ya
Fox.
estaba igual.
It straight up gives you 5%
bien
quality to
igual.
all your gems.
The Abyssal are a race that have mastery
Dijo
of forbidden
Third
magics and
Official
necromancy.
League.
They were thought to be extinct, but have merely
La
been
02
biding
no
their time
existió,
underground.
literal.
You first encounter signs of the Abyssal in Clearfell,
¿Y cómo se
where you
hacen los
discover that during the
boludos?
night, weaker members of the Undead Legion have been attacking the encampment. The townsfolk require your help to investigate where the monsters are coming from and put a stop to their attacks.
Out there, ancient creatures, lurking beneath the surface.
Ah, esto es la
As you
02.
proceed
Ah,
through
mala mía, mala
Raycross, you'll
mía.
find fissures in the earth connected to larger pits. The monsters normally inhabiting the area are being affected by it, harmed by
Bien.
it even, having their souls eaten to strengthen the Abyssal underground.
Ah, o sea que el bicho que vos mates, el enemigo que va a salir del pit absorbe ese modo y lo amplifica.
If
Como
you
hizo ahí en
defeat a
Mana
rogue
Siphon.
exile that's near one, it'll be revived as a Lichborn that has multiple Abyssal modifiers.
Si matás a un Exile cerca del
Lichborn
Abyss,
exiles even have their own unique jewel they can drop.
te trae un
If you are
Lich.
lucky enough to encounter and kill them.
¿Eh?
If an abyss spawns near a boss,
Sí, probá a usar el
killing it
sprint
will
ahí en
summon
medio
a
del Abyss, a ver cómo te va.
gigantic Giga larvae creature.
Pobre el que lo apriete, el que lo mantenga apretado sin querer al botón,
Abyssal pits are affected by the abyss too. They will come with an additional new essence item that can be used to craft your items.
A ver.
So,
Craft.
that
A ver.
these are one of the many rewards for your mission to seal the pits. You can use this on a rare item to imbue it with abyssal magic, adding a special hidden modifier to your item. But how
Le
do you
agrega un
reveal
modificador
it?
especial al ítem.
In Act 2 of the campaign, you'll encounter a new area.
Ok.
This area is overrun by the Abyssal and the Lost Men. After clearing through this area, you'll find the Well of Souls, a giant cavity with a massive vortex of souls swirling beneath you.
Una vez que completas ese mapa,
So how do you reveal the mods on your Abyssal-infused items?
vas a poder
Obviously,
revelar
just throw them in, right? Yes,
ese
that's
modificador.
exactly what you do. Before throwing it in, you are given the option of how you want to transform it.
Es un
in the
Bailed.
form of a choice of 3 different
Es un
modifiers.
Bailed.
Once you've chosen your desired mod, throw it in, where it will absorb the power of the souls, and the ominous creature will then retrieve it for you.
Decime que eligió
These
el híbrido,
modifiers
¿no?
can be ones from the core mod pool, all the way through to specialized modifiers that cannot normally appear on items. During the campaign, you can use it as a way to more easily add useful existing mods, but during the endgame, there is a whole set of new and powerful mods you can add to your items.
Ah,
Like
van a
this
haber más
mod for
modificadores.
crossbows that allows you to place an additional ballista totem. Or this one that adds spirit to your staff.
Spiritual Staff, mirá.
Or this one that allows you to generate more combo with your quarterstaff skills.
Chance de generar más combo para los quartz.
And
¿Te
speaking of
ocupa,
endgame,
¿Te ocupa el lugar de
you
un,
can
de un
also
afijo?
use the system to craft waystones.
¿Te ocupa el lugar de un afijo?
With a
No vi
preserved
eso.
vertebrae fused into your waystones, you can get some new modifiers that push difficulty and rewards to new heights. Here are some examples of those mods. You always get a choice of 3, so you can avoid anything you don't think your character is capable of. Now, the last thing that Abyssal commanders can drop is a Finger of the Lich. But what use do you have with a random undead finger? Well, the next time you return to the Well of Souls, with the finger in your inventory, your character will almost feel compelled. To do what, though, you might ask? To jump in. The items you threw in came back more powerful, right?
¿Cómo que
So,
jumping?
what's the worst that could happen? Well, you will just have to find that one out for
Se
yourself.
tira nomás.
Along with the introduction of Act 4
Debe ser un
and the
boss
interlude,
especial. What?
we will be adding 25 new endgame maps. There will be a specific objective for each type of content which grants you those points. For example, in the case of Delirium, it's simple. You just need to find and kill one of the bosses in a map, Omniophobia or Kosis.
Mirá, mirá, mirá,
The rest
mirá.
of the points for each
Perfecto.
content come from the pinnacle content.
Perfecto.
But we're
Te empiezan a
making
dar
some changes
puntos
to
al hacer
accessibility
encuentros más
here,
sencillos en lugar de tener que matar al boss sí o
Currently,
sí.
access to most pinnacle content requires the same key at the easiest and most difficult version of the content. Talking about finding items is
A
one
ver.
thing, but what about crafting them?
A ver.
We've taken a step back and looked at some of our crafting systems to make some notable improvements. Let's start with essences, which suffered from an issue where the regular essences were effectively useless and didn't give players the tools or excitement that a crafting system should provide. To
Bien, dice
alleviate
que
these
las
concerns,
esencias
essences are
normales
being
eran
changed in a
inútiles.
few ways. Firstly, they're being changed to function like regals and add specific modifiers with specific values, meaning you know exactly what you're going to get.
Ojo.
We found that players were often bottlenecked by regal orbs when crafting in the campaign, so this helps to fill that gap, allowing you to better upgrade
Ya
your
no es
items.
random.
For example, this Lesser Essence of Flames,
La
which will
laser
be
te va a
able to
agregar
add a
poco.
flat amount of fire damage to your magic martial weapons. Secondly, we're adding many more tiers.
Después tenés
That
Essence y
Lesser
después tenés
Essence of Flames, for
Greater.
example,
Y todas
has a
funcionan como
regular
regal.
variant and a greater variant too, adding
Okay.
even more fire damage with each upgrade.
Ok.
The intention of this is so that when you find one early on, you don't worry about holding on to it till later to use on a higher level item. You should feel free to use them as they come to get
Está
powerful
bueno.
upgrades during the campaign.
Está bueno. Está bueno. Está bien.
Lastly, our highest tier of essences, now called Perfect Essences,
Perfect
will
Essence.
function like a Chaos Orb instead of a Regal. So
Ah,
it will
funciona como un
replace
Chaos
one
Orb,
of the
las
modifiers
Perfect.
on your rare items with the specified mod. Such as this Perfect Essence of Flames. You'll notice this one doesn't just add flat fire damage like the ones before it. The Perfect Essences often give something a bit different, with some opportunities to be pretty
Remueve
damn
uno
powerful.
random. No, no, no.
There
Como
are
el de
many
Poe 2.
different essences, each with many tiers,
Como el caos del Poe 2.
covering many of the more
Te va a
core
remover un modo y
modifiers
te
you
va a
find
agregar
on
otro.
items early on,
El que
through
te
to
agrega
chase
es
specialized
como
ones
el
for Endgame.
Harvest de Removed de
Speaking
Poe
of
1.
Endgame, we really wanted to expand our crafting options for late Endgame crafting projects. You might have noticed that at Endgame, you get way too many transmutes. Wouldn't it be nice if some of those didn't drop, but instead you got something a little more powerful? At higher levels, you can now find Greater Orb of Transmutation and Perfect Orb of Transmutation. These can be used on normal items to upgrade them to magic, ensuring that the modifier generated is of a minimum level. This is similar to how you find higher tier items on the ground, but for crafting. These higher tiers will also exist for Orb of Augmentation, Regal Orb, Exalted Orb, and Chaos Orb, meaning you can get all of the orbs required to take your item from normal rarity to a fully completed rare with guaranteed high tier mods.
O sea, te aseguran los
On
tier
top of these
altos.
new core crafting currencies, we wanted to make sure there are powerful crafting bases to use them on. Now in Endgame, you can start to find exceptional items. These are items that drop at normal rarity
Exceptional.
and are perfect for your from-scratch crafting project.
Quality 28.
They can come with extra quality, up to 30%, or an additional socket to use your crafting socketables in. And yes, they can be corrupted for yet another socket. With the release of Act 4, notably taking place in the Karori Archipelago, you'll be able to now find a new currency item, Henikora's Lock.
Agregan el
Henikora, the Karori goddess of death, has the power of foresight and is able to see many futures, including the outcome of your next craft. So, imbuing her lock onto an item gives you that same power too. For example, you'll know whether or not to use an Exalted Orb on your item, as you will know exactly what the outcome is. So, with all these new crafting improvements, it's safe to say you're going to be making some epic items, and not necessarily just ones for yourself. So given that, it's time to talk about a massive one. Trade. It's
A ver, el
finally
nuevo sistema
here.
de trade.
The moment we've all been waiting for. Fully asynchronous trade. Over the years, the way players trade with each other in Path of Exile 1 has morphed from using the forums, through to the in-game chat, all the way through to using the website. These systems, in all their iterations, work for a while, but with each iteration, new problems eventually reveal themselves. Be it requiring you to be in your hideout too much instead of out there killing monsters, or never getting responses from people who are either
Offer un
AFK
alch.
or just can't be bothered. In order to finally solve this, and this has been a long time coming, we're adding a new system that allows you to buy items from other players without requiring the seller to be present. They can continue farming, killing monsters, AFK as they please,
Mira.
and can even be offline. With the introduction of King's March in Act 4, you will encounter Ange, assistant to Rog in the
Hay que
Meridian
tener
Free
cuidado de no
Traders Company.
pifiar con el precio.
Over the last 2 decades or so, since Path of Exile 1's storyline, Faustus has handed down his knowledge and expertise to Ange, and she is now ready to take over his business.
Ok, una vez
If
que
you have a
terminas
hideout
la...
unlocked already,
el
you
acto
can
4.
immediately invite her there. If you don't have a hideout yet, you will need to acquire one. You can do this by completing a quest to defeat one of the bosses inhabiting an island in Act 4, allowing you then to take a slice of it for yourself, making it your new home and base of operations.
En el acto 4 podés
Once invited to your
claimear un
hideout,
hideout.
she will now serve as operating your currency exchange, but also serve as the figurehead in your new trading empire.
Manage Shop.
So, how does this new system work? In the existing trade system, you would list
funciona
items
con
for
las
sale
pestañas
in
premium.
premium stash tabs. And then when someone wanted one, you'd have to take it out for yourself and trade it to them. Now, instead of using those, you can give your items to Ange so she can sell them for you. Each item must have a price set. The prices are set using in-game currency items, such as Exalted Orbs or Chaos Orbs.
¿Y no te cobra oro? No te cobra
Once a
nada.
price is set, other players will be able to find the item by
Secure.
searching for it on the trade website.
¿Cómo?
Once a desired item has been found, you can hit a button, which will instantly teleport your character in-game to their hideout.
¿Eh?
Then, you can immediately purchase the item.
¿Eh?
And while there, if you want, browse their other goods, in case there's a good deal someone else hasn't yet discovered.
Esto va a estar
You'll
raro.
notice that as a buyer, on top of the currency the seller set for the price, it also costs gold to purchase an item.
Ah,
as
te cuesta
Ange has
oro para
bills to
comprar.
pay, after all.
Ok.
As a seller, you'll immediately receive a notification when an item of yours is sold. and can also see an effect above Ange in your hideout when she has unclaimed currency. Just go talk to her, claim your currency, and continue playing at your leisure.
Vaya, pero...
As many people already acquired premium stash tabs for the purpose of the trade system, we wanted to add a way for you to convert your existing tabs to merchants tabs, if you want. You can do that here, on the website.
Vas a
but
poder
only
cambiar
if you purchase those
stash
tabs
comunes en
before the
premium.
release of the Third Edict. To clarify, the existing trade system will remain fully intact, so your premium stash tabs will not lose any of their functionality. We just figured people might want to switch over to this new system. We expect a lot of feedback around this new system and are looking forward to trying it out with you. As we are not able to test internally with an entire
Mor, se
thriving
pueden vender los
economy,
mapas.
there will certainly be
Te dan
some
oro,
kinks to
vender los
work
mapas a
out.
los NPC.
Based on how the system goes, we will be adding it to Path of Exile 1 when ready, so any of the tabs you purchase will also be usable there later.